She's a Disney legend, a Tony Award winner, and the voice that defined a generation of princesses. But when this young Filipina singer landed the role that made her a global superstar, the reaction back home wasn't what anyone expected. This is the story of the voice that conquered the world and shocked the Philippines. Some voices we enjoy, and then there are voices that define an era. Voices so pure and powerful, they become part of our culture. For millions around the globe, that voice belongs to one woman. A woman who, as a teenager, left her home with a phenomenal gift and a heart full of hope, only to find herself at the center of a storm. Her journey would take her to the highest peaks of international stardom, earning her the most coveted awards in theater and a place in the hearts of children everywhere as the singing voice of royalty. But her greatest triumph, the one that cemented her name in history, also stirred up a complex reaction in the country that had raised her. It was a clash of culture, image, and expectation that nobody saw coming. This is the story of Lea Salonga, a Filipina prodigy, who became a global icon. It's a story about the price of a dream, the complexities of identity, and how a single voice, chasing the role of a lifetime, could simultaneously become a source of immense national pride and unexpected debate. It's the story of a voice that conquered the world, but first, had to navigate the cultural whiplash it created back home. Long before the world knew her name, Lea Salonga was a household name in the Philippines. Born in Manila, she was a true prodigy, stepping onto the professional stage at the astonishing age of 7 to star in a production of The King and I. From that moment, her star was on the rise. Throughout the 1980s, she was the undisputed darling of the nation's entertainment industry. At just 10 years old, she recorded her first album, Small Voice, which went on to achieve platinum status. This wasn't just a hobby, it was a phenomenon. She starred in local films and hosted her own musical television show, Love Lea. To the Filipino public, she was more than just a child star. She was a symbol of youthful innocence and incredible talent. Her image was meticulously wholesome, earning her the nickname the Shirley Temple of the Philippines. She was the good daughter, the role model, the girl with the angelic voice who represented the best of the nation's values. In a country with deeply conservative and Catholic roots, this image was a cultural touchstone. The entertainment world was often seen in black and white. You were either a wholesome performer, perfect for the whole family, or you were what was known as a bold star, an actress taking on daring, often sexualized roles. There was very little gray area, and Lea Salonga was celebrated for being firmly in the wholesome category. She performed for presidents and was a constant, reassuring presence on television. But as the decade drew to a close, a call was sent out from across the globe. The creators of Les Miserables, Alain Boublil and Claude Michel Schoenberg, were mounting an ambitious new musical called Miss Saigon. It was a tragic love story set during the Vietnam War, and they launched one of the most extensive talent searches in theater history to find their tragic heroine, Kim. That search was about to land on the doorstep of the Philippines' most wholesome star. The announcement of auditions for Miss Saigon in Manila created a wave of excitement. This wasn't just another show, it was a production by Cameron Mackintosh, the most powerful producer in the world. The role was a direct ticket to international stardom, and for thousands of aspiring Filipino performers, it was the chance of a lifetime. Among them was a 17-year-old Lea Salonga. Though a seasoned pro in her own country, she was a complete unknown on the world stage. She walked into the room and chose to sing On My Own from Les Miserables. The moment she began, the weary producers, who had been traveling the world for months, suddenly sat up. Here was a voice of impossible clarity and power, filled with an emotional intelligence that was well beyond her years. She had the voice, but did she have the grit to portray Kim, a teenager forced to work in a bar in a war-torn city? They asked her to return the next day to sing Sun and Moon, a key duet from the show. She did. And in that room, she became Kim. The global search was over. They had found their star. The decision was a moment of immense national pride. One of their own had been chosen. But as the euphoria settled, a more complicated reality began to emerge. The role of Kim was no fairy tale princess. She was a 17-year-old orphan forced into prostitution to survive. The part required skimpy costumes, love scenes, and a portrayal of raw, brutal desperation. For Lea, who had built a career on being wholesome, this was a terrifying leap. As she later said, her main concern wasn't just the role itself, but how it would be seen back home. I was really concerned with how conservative audiences in the Philippines were going to take it, because my career up to that point was just very wholesome, she recalled. In her mind, the fear was specific. Would they label her a bold star? That dreaded term represented a point of no return in Philippine showbiz. She took the risk. At 18, Lea Salonga packed her bags for London, leaving behind her family, her country, and the pristine image that had defined her entire life. She was stepping into the biggest spotlight in the world, carrying not just her own dreams, but the conflicted expectations of a nation watching her every move. The pressure in London was immense. Lea was anchoring a multi-million-dollar show, surrounded by veteran performers, but she thrived. When Miss Saigon opened in September 1989, the reaction was immediate and ecstatic. The show was a sensation, but the true revelation was its star. Critics raved about her performance, hailing her voice as one of the most remarkable instruments in musical theater. In 1990, at just 19 years old, she won the Laurence Olivier Award for Best Actress in a musical, the most prestigious honor in British theater. She had conquered London. Broadway was next. But the journey to New York hit a major roadblock. The American Actors Equity Association initially refused to let her reprise the role, arguing it should go to an Asian American performer. This ignited a fierce, international debate about casting and race. Producer Cameron McIntosh was furious. He argued that after auditioning over 1,200 women in the U.S., no one could match Salonga's talent. He declared her a star of international stature and threatened to cancel the entire Broadway production if she couldn't perform. Back in the Philippines, the dispute was seen as a national affront, an American slight against one of their own. After a tense standoff, McIntosh won. Lea Salonga was coming to Broadway. When Miss Saigon opened in New York in April 1991, it was an even bigger hit. That year, she made history, winning the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical, the first Asian woman ever to do so. She also swept the other major theater awards, the Drama Desk, the Outer Critics Circle, and the Theater World Award. She had conquered the world, but as her international stardom exploded, so did a complicated conversation back home. News of her character, a bar girl forced into prostitution, and her revealing costumes started filtering back to Manila. For a public that cherished her as the Shirley Temple of the Philippines, it created a sense of cultural whiplash. The shock wasn't one of disappointment, but of profound cognitive dissonance. How could their Lea, the symbol of innocence, be celebrated for a role like this? It was a question that hung in the air, a complex footnote to a triumphant story. Just as the world was processing her powerhouse performance in Miss Saigon, Hollywood called with a role that would change everything. Again. Disney was looking for a special voice for its next princess, Jasmine, in the upcoming film Aladdin. When they heard Lea Salonga, they knew they had found her. Her soaring vocals on the film's ballad, A Whole New World, became an instant global sensation. The song won an Academy Award and a Grammy, and is the only song from a Disney animated film to hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. For millions of children, Lea Salonga was the voice of Princess Jasmine. The role was a complete pivot from the tragedy of Kim. Princess Jasmine was feisty and independent, but she was also unquestionably wholesome. She was royalty. This role was a powerful act of redefinition. It washed away any discomfort from Miss Saigon and replaced it with the pure magic of Disney, solidifying her status as a universal cultural figure. Disney called on her again a few years later, this time for the singing voice of another groundbreaking character, Mulan. Lea's powerful vocals on the anthem Reflection gave voice to a warrior who saved her country. Voicing two of Disney's most iconic non-white princesses was a monumental step for representation. In 2011, the Walt Disney Company officially recognized her massive contribution by naming her a Disney legend, an honor for those who've made an indelible mark on the company. The girl who once worried about being labeled a bold star was now officially a Disney legend. It was the ultimate validation, proving she couldn't be defined by a single role, but by the sheer, undeniable versatility of her voice. Lea Salonga's win for Miss Saigon didn't just make her a star, it kicked open the door for a generation of performers. Her historic Tony win proved that an Asian performer could lead a major production. She broke the barrier, creating a path for others to follow. Her career has been a continuous exercise in breaking new ground. She was the first Asian actress to play Eponine in Les Miserables on Broadway, and later, the first to play Fantine in the same show. These were roles not written for an Asian performer, and her casting was a victory for talent over typecasting. She continued to star in major Broadway productions like Flower Drum Song, Allegiance, and Once on This Island, earning another Grammy nomination for the latter. Her legacy isn't just on stage. It's in the countless Filipino and other Asian artists who saw her and realized that their dreams were possible. She served as a coach on The Voice of the Philippines, mentoring new talent in her home country. The world has continued to shower her with honors. She was named a Time 100 Impact Award recipient and a Gold House Gold Legend. In 2026, she will receive her own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, another historic first for a Filipino artist in her category. Back home, any cultural dissonance from her early career has long since faded, replaced by overwhelming pride. The Philippines has fully embraced her as a living legend and a national treasure. She has been honored by the government with the Presidential Medal of Merit and the esteemed rank of Commander of the Order of Lacandula. The House of Representatives awarded her the Congressional Medal of Achievement for showing the world the extent and depth of the Filipino musical talent, and for opening the way for other Filipino artists. The Shirley Temple of the Philippines did grow up. She turned the page in a way no one could have imagined, navigating controversy with grace and unparalleled talent. Today, she is not just beloved, she is revered, a testament to the fact that true talent can't be confined by expectations. What's your favorite Lea Salonga performance? Was it her historic run in Miss Saigon, or as the voice of a Disney princess? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more stories about figures who changed the world, make sure to subscribe. At the end of the day, Lea Salonga's story is about more than just a great voice. It's a drama about identity, ambition, and the complex dance between a global stage and a national soul. She is the young girl who left home with a perfect voice and returned a legend. Her journey began with a single audition that changed her life in ways both dazzling and difficult. She conquered the world of theater, broke barriers for Asian performers, and gave voice to princesses who inspired millions. Along the way, she faced down union disputes in New York and navigated the cultural crosscurrents in her homeland. She carved out a new space for what a global star from the Philippines could be. Her legacy is written in the history books of Broadway, in the songs of beloved Disney classics, and in the careers of the countless Asian performers who now walk through the doors she opened. The voice that once caused a stir in the Philippines is now the voice that the nation and the world holds up as a symbol of pride, perseverance, and perfect pitch. She is, and always will be, the voice that conquered the world.